Star Center, this is speaking. How may I help you, Mr. Muska?
How you doing today, sir?
Terrific. How are you?
Right on, pretty good, pretty good. Just cruising AZ, you know?
Yep.
Little vacation out here.
Okay.
What's going on? You know any good handrails there?
I have no idea.
You haven't been there yet?
No.
No?
Never been there.
All right, man. You ever skateboard?
Nope.
You never?
Never.
Oh, man. Guess what?
What's it?
Muska came on and it was like, who is that guy, like with the boombox? But his skill set backed it up. He had his own style and it resonated.
From the age of like 7 or 8, just skateboarding was my life. And as a white dude who only listened to hip-hop music and wanted to be cool, he seemed to have it down the best of anybody.
He said whatever he wanted, he did whatever he wanted, and he didn't give a shit. Like, what's there not to love?
People just loved his energy, the way he dressed. He was like the modern-day Christian Soy, basically.
Muska was just bigger than skating. When you do something in skateboarding, you see all these other kids copy it, that says something about you and your skating.
Muska was literally the one dude who went totally Hollywood.
When you don't have a lot of responsibility and making a good amount of money, it's easy to think like, oh, this isn't gonna catch up to me. Then it does.
The Muska documentary.
Hey, welcome back to Epically Latered. We're here in Hollywood, California, and we're about to meet up with Chad Muska. I would say Chad is probably the most requested episode that I get, that I see on my Instagram or whatever. People are always like, where's the Chad Muska episode? He had such a wild career, from Toy Machine to Shorties, Supra, all kinds of stuff. Crazy fashion, boombox, Cadillac Muscalade, and now he's doing artwork. He's a pretty sick guy. I've always been a big fan. And so anyway, I'm excited to interview him, learn about him, ask him about Paris Hilton and shit. I don't know. But so anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Chad Muska episode.
Who's hungry? Who's the hungriest? Max don't even know he's about to eat. This is their lunchtime snack. They get eggs for lunch, but they get organic chicken, rice, sweet potatoes, green beans, peas, spinach, and carrots, and salmon for breakfast and lunch and dinner, but they get eggs for lunch, not for breakfast.
How do they like their eggs?
Scrambled.
Can you start from the beginning and tell me how you got into skating?
So my first introduction to skateboarding was in Phoenix, Arizona. My dad was into Harleys. He was a biker, you know, and had all his biker friends, and they got together and caused ruckus around town, and I always, like, felt like skateboarding was like that. Like, I was like, that's just like my dad and his homies, like, you know, but instead of riding down the street in the Harleys, revving your engines, we were skating down the street and scratching our tails and, you know, making noise. Both my parents had gone through addiction, and, you know, we didn't have a lot of money. I was kind of like a confused kid.
From what I gather, he grew up like with not much type of situation, like, I don't even know, just like had nothing and just was like trying to come up, you know what I mean?
I ended up back in the trailer park with my mom. I had got busted for graffiti for like my 3rd time, and they were really gonna like lay it down on me basically. And so I had like possible juvie time and all this stuff. I was like, this isn't it. Like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. And I knew it. I knew these 2 girls that were going to San Diego, and I basically caught a ride with them. I left without dealing with my charges and got dropped off in Mission Beach.
You were a fugitive then?
I guess they drop charges. I hope they do. Right now, we're in Mission Beach, man. This is where I came. This is my first place that I got dropped off in California. This is where it began. When I first got into town, San Diego definitely was the mecca. Like, you'd show up and there'd be like Jamie Thomas and Donger, and if you wanted to make it as a pro skater at that time, that's where you had to go. Wow. Memories, man. A lot of memories. We used to party on this beach. That was about a year of never knowing where I was gonna sleep and, you know, sleeping on the beach when I had to, or with random tourists that came through, or whatever it was. It was a different scenario kind of every night at that time. My homie George is coming. There's like all the skaters that were here, and then there was like the beach like locals that would like kind of run the scene over here. Hopefully they're not too crazy nowadays. Yeah.
Has landed. What it do, yo?
Yeah, OJ, what up? What up?
The muskrat.
How you doing?
You got, dude, where's the fire hydrant?
Where's the bump? Right there.
You know, 180 fire hydrant.
Choose which one. Choose which one.
Dude,
much love.
Straight up. The way that it happened and him being here, and people were like, where did this kid come from? He was dirty white trash, like, he looked like he listened to Slipknot, Tagger Kid, with a up muskrat tail, half premise cut. Like, I hung out with him for like a good 8 months and just liked him because he just talked nonstop shit. And I'm like, dude, if he can skate half as good as he can talk shit, he's gonna be the best skateboarder ever. Sure enough, ended up being even better than that.
San Diego has a smell, man, a specific smell. I remember this. And then there was like one little bump right here, and we used to like do tricks into the street. This was the zone back in the day, and we would just skate all day and sit on this beach wall right here, pretty much. We lived right here, and this was my home. Take a shower at the stalls right over there. That's where I took showers, was right there. This is what we do. We just kind of sit here and just watch people go by. My priorities were to wake up, find enough money to get some food, get a little money for some weed, a little money for a 40, and hopefully run into a girl. Simple times, man.
Did you sleep out here?
If I ever slept here, I'd go to the bay over here. I could show you where it's at, across the street.
Yeah, let's go over there.
Definitely, this was our, like, right here was a total chills pass out here on the grass. But then there's, like, the bay over there where the sand is, too. And that was a little spot where nobody ever used to mess with us.
When you were sleeping out here, were you like, shit, this sucks, my life sucks, or were you like, this is awesome? Like, now I feel like...
I thought it sucked. Yeah, I didn't want to be sleeping outside. I remember.
Sleeping bag or just out?
We would have, sometimes I would have like I had a backpack, and I'd have like I had a blanket, I'm pretty sure, in the backpack, or like a big beach towel I think I had. Spent a lot of time just thinking, laying here and just thinking.
Thinking about what?
I don't know what, I wasn't really thinking like that I wanted to try to pursue like anything major at that time. I just wanted to like have a house, I guess. Have somewhere to sleep.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a trip coming back here.
But yeah, whatever else I've done in my life wouldn't be special without these times. Got a little emotional, dude. Oh, man. It's been a lot. Oh, long ride. Oh, man. These feelings, the emotions I'm having right this second are just, like, great. You know what I mean? Like, it's like my eyes are watering, but, like, it's because of so much bad happened here, so much great happened here, so many stories. But, yeah. What up, tree? I'm gonna touch this tree. Yeah. Still going. My buddy. Oh, there it is. How you doing? These are my beer girlfriends.
Hi there. Where are you from?
I'm here. I live here.
Oh, okay.
So I met Chad in '95. I started seeing him around PB and Mission Beach and stuff. I was really into filming, and I kind of grew up being into filming. So I would film whoever was ripping. It didn't matter who they rode for or whatever. I just wanted to be a part of it and be around rad skating. Chad was ripping like all the time, like always focused, always had a trick idea he wanted to do. He was always super motivated. So I started just filming him here and there.
We started skating together, and he had the connection to all the photographers and video cameras and stuff like that.
I was still building the Toy Machine team, and we were starting to film for Welcome to Hell. And I was like, if you want to be a part of this thing, I could talk to Ed. And he was like, for real? Yeah, like, let's do it.
You know, when Jamie got on Toy Machine, he's the one who shaped up the team a little bit. And I just saw that he was like fully into doing a video and said, go for it.
Ed Templeton started Toy Machine. It was completely his company, and I love Ed, and I look up to him, and he's like such a mentor of mine, and Jamie. Just the idea of being on a team with those guys, I was just like, yeah, of course, 100%, let's do this. Everything went from there.
In the 90s, Chad Muska, Toy Machine, Jamie Thomas, Big Rails, all that was coming together as like this new type of skateboarding, man. And seeing the stuff Chad was doing in the magazines, I was like, dude, I can't wait for this Toy Machine video to come out to see the footage of this stuff.
So we started filming Welcome to Hell, and things started to get tense at that time. Things were like, okay, like we gotta make a badass video right here. We wanted to shock the skateboard industry.
I don't think either one of us intended for it to get competitive. It just kind of naturally did because we were both so hungry.
I was like, I'm gonna take Jamie out. I know I can do it. Because I felt like he already kind of was having his shine, and I was like, it's my time, you know? And it wasn't nothing personal against him because I was 100% grateful for everything he did for me and was doing, but I wanted what he had too.
We all knew how hard everyone was working. Like, Jamie was getting gnarly. Chad was getting gnarly. It was the gnarliest video of all time.
We were both stacking footage, and it was happening, and it was all coming together. But Chad had a few injuries during that filming period.
They were filming the video for a year. They put their heart and soul and blood, sweat, and tears into it. And then, like, you can't film anymore, and somebody else on the team is out absolutely killing it nonstop. You know, that must, like, weigh pretty heavy on you.
Well, usually in skateboarding, if you have the last video part, that means you got the best part. And I wanted to have the best part. And I knew I could do it. And so the fact that I was injured and that was the reason why I couldn't do it really didn't sit well with me. You know, I was like, Jamie, you got the part.
The fact that I was potentially stealing, you know, some of the limelight, it seemed like our friction kind of grew as we got closer and closer to the release of the video.
I'd already kind of come to an acceptance that, you know, I'd been hurt and I wasn't getting the last part, but I was still happy with the video and proud to be part of that team. And going into the premiere, it was like a big time for me because I felt like a lot of the hard work that I'd been putting into skateboarding and everything was gonna start to come back through this video. And it was sort of a milestone or something to like showcase what all that hard work was.
The situation with the premiere was we're putting the last title in the video, and then we were going to output it to tape. You know, we had hours until the premiere.
I remember being out front, somebody got me a bottle of Goldschlager, and I was like pounding it. All of a sudden, everybody's like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? Like, where's the video? Where's the video?
We're all standing around worried, like, where's the tape? Where's the tape?
When we put Alyssa's title in, it crashed the computer, and then the program wouldn't open back up.
I show up to the front of the theater, and it's just a madhouse. There's dudes hammered, there's like people fighting, it's just like mayhem.
They called it. Video's not done, it's not coming. I remember thinking they were joking.
Chad was really drunk by that time.
Chad comes walking up to me like, you you suck at running a company, you asshole, you ruined my night, this is my night, you
I couldn't comprehend in that drunken state of mind that the video was not gonna show up that night and we weren't gonna have this premiere because that was impossible. That couldn't be what was gonna happen that night, you know?
He's raging right in my face, you know, like yelling, screaming at me, spitting on me, basically like, ah. You know, and I'm like, my pride kicks in too. I'm just like, oh, you can't do this to me in public like this. Like, it's not cool.
But Chad was young. He was probably only 17. And to be 17 and have that much like hype around you is gnarly. Like, I don't know that there's been that many people in that position. And then you throw, you know, like an abundance of alcohol in the situation, and you got a 17-year-old, like, all sorts of shit can happen. We're lucky all it was an argument in front of a premiere.
Remember, I woke up the next day and I was really hungover, and I was like, what happened last night? And then I think Ed called me, and he was like, you're kicked off the team. And I was like, whoa, like, what? Like, I'm kicked off Toy Machine? I was so bummed. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I talked a lot of shit, and I paid the price.
Oh my God, dude.
Toy Machine was a major step in my life, but, you know, just one little thing could be set off wrong in our industry and you're done, your career's over. A lot of kids don't understand that and think about it. After I got kicked off Toy Machine, that reality kind of kicked me in the ass. I had this empty feeling like, well, I did it, came pro, I skated for a rad company, but now it's over.
I knew there was tension between Chad and I. We were like not even really talking that much at this time. And Welcome to Hell was just like overnight, it was just like exploding.
So there's all this hype for this Welcome to Hell video, and then Chad ends up going different ways. That footage never comes out.
I felt real sad that like I wasn't in Welcome to Hell because it's like such a major impact in skateboarding and a representation of an era. That's when I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to do it on my own then.
You know, there was this company in Santa Barbara called Shorty's. Tony Bulos started. I think there was only like a couple bolt companies at the time, and it was huge. And Tony wanted to start a board company. Chad had just had a falling out with Toy Machine, was a free agent, and I think Tony saw an opportunity to like, let's grab Muska, make this his thing.
Chad, Tony.
I just believed in him. Like when he spoke to me and we had these talks, I was like, we can do this, like for sure. And he offered me a lot of money.
I think a lot of these dudes are struggling, man. You know, that's the life of a skateboarder in your 20s. Once Shorty started, Chad had some cash. I remember he bought like a nice Honda Accord, went and got some tats, bought some new clothes.
But beyond just the money, he also told me that you can build the whole team and do whatever you want to do. That I was like, okay, I saw a vision. Steve Olson, Brandon Turner, Peter Smolik. These guys were virtually unknown, and they were better than everybody.
He hit me up, and he was like, you down? And I was like, yeah. It was like a dream come true to me, you know what I mean? I always looked up to him, and I couldn't believe it, you know?
Brandon actually got on Shorty's. I was like, oh, sick. At that point, I was like, it, whatever, I'm about to either skate for Zero or Shorty's, and then I just fit in better with Shorty's and shit.
I mean, it was definitely a lot more heavily hip-hop influenced brand. You know, so it was really like, I think based around a culture that like I identified with.
Represent, represent.
Chad was unstoppable.
Oh my God, dude.
He just produced footage.
Skateboarding for life.
So a normal skate day, you're lucky if you get one decent trick on film. This day in Arizona with Chad, he got like 15 insane tricks, which is unheard of.
There was definitely like this one day we went to Arizona, skated from start of the day into like 3 in the morning or something. We just nonstop hit spots. And I guess it became kind of an epic day that people would talk about.
The day in Arizona was crazy. I mean, he was just getting trick after trick after trick, and it kept going.
At the end of the day, we go have dinner. He's drinking margaritas, and then on the way out of there, he's like, oh, I know this crazy rail. After he's done all this crazy shit, like, let's go look at it. And it's like 11 at night, and we light up this rail that's like down, flat, down.
The thing is, what people don't know from the video parts is it's all of that like 100 times at the top, like seeing if everybody's ready.
I don't know, I would yell random things. I don't even know what I would yell. Like, this is for the homies right here. Or like, you know, I don't even know what homies I was talking about, but it was for all the homies.
Like, wait, all right, hold up. Yeah, let's get it. Like hundreds, you know, and then he'll just do the first one. It's like some weird, like, I don't know, he has to hype himself up.
Sometimes with video parts, you're on it and you just get that day and you're just getting all your tricks and filming and it's working out. And that was one of those days for me.
First try.
It seemed like things like really started to like take off and kind of snowball from there. And it was really like the peak of my career time.
There are very few skaters that influence skateboarding culturally, from the sense of the way people dress to the way people act, and Chad did that.
You'd see kids completely influenced by him. They were dressing exactly the same, you know, with all the accessories and the boombox and all that stuff, but he was also nose blunting 14 stair rails. It was that iconic Shorty's board.
He sold a lot of those.
Yeah, and I'm sure he sold a shit ton of those.
I still have the Rising Sun Muska board, like, in my room at home right now. You know, OG. Not on eBay, dog, OG.
He was the biggest ever. I remember going to school and seeing a girl bawling like Beatlemania. Like, oh my God, Chad Muska, like bawling. And I was just like, holy shit, like this is insane.
Those guys came up with the idea of doing a big tour through Europe. Kids were just going crazy.
And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, like this is crazy.
When Muska came up, the cool thing in skateboarding was to be low-key and subtle and let your actions do the talking. You know, and anyone that was putting on a show was shunned. Muska had that, but he had the skill to back it up. And so people loved it.
Chad had basically risen to the top of skateboarding, but in a very like solid sense. It wasn't like just overnight hype. He worked so hard at making a name for himself. I think he was looking for what was next.
The Tony Hawk Pro Skater thing came up, you know, they were like, we're gonna make a video game, we want you to be in it.
He was one of the first picks of THPS because he was unique.
I was like super hyped on it, but I never, even in a million years, would imagine the impact that it had. That just took our names and opened it up to households beyond any way skateboarding could have ever carried us on. That's when you started walking around and random little kids were like, that's Chad Muska.
Chad Muska is my favorite skateboarder.
After the success from that, I was approached by some other friends to start up Circa. And similar to Shorty's, they offered me sort of free reign to start this company, have ownership in it, and pick a team.
I feel that until he got into my situation and started having to run the team, you know, kind of like play the role I was playing at Toy Machine, we didn't reconnect until after that. I think that just created more common ground for Chad and I.
Initially, I actually talked to Jamie Thomas. He was my first pick because I also thought that there was something really interesting about bringing us back together because everybody was still kind of looked at us as like enemies, I guess. And I thought like, what better way than to start a company than to bring both together.
I was in a similar position of, you know, being in the Tony Hawk Pro Skater video game, and Chad and I came back together to work together again, and we'd both grown up a bit, and we got along way better than we ever did before. I mean, basically, Circa was huge, blowing up like crazy. Chad and I were still blowing up, and those guys came up with the idea of doing a documentary on a big tour through Europe, but that trip was crazy. It seemed really surreal. Everywhere we went, kids were just going crazy.
Dude, you gotta be filming this thing.
I didn't know that we had become that popular. Like, we would sign autographs for hours and hours. Like, sometimes it was endless.
And I just remember thinking, like, oh my God, like, this is crazy, you know?
Chad carried himself in such a way, and he was so charismatic that the hype was just so big. We went to Germany. It was hectic.
These kids, like, bum rushed me. It was insane. And I literally had to, like, run full speed down this block. And, like, I looked back, and there was, like, 300 kids, like, running after me. And I, like, jumped on this car.
Muska just starts running up this way. I'm like, Muska, where are you running to? And I look behind. There's at least probably 200 kids running after him, screaming his name. Some madness here.
I mean, I feel bad because I can't sign everybody's stuff, but at the same time, I'm a human, man. Like, I don't, you know, that's inhuman, dude. That was like, I never felt something like I guess a rock star moment. That was the ultimate time for me where I was like, wow, this is the height of anything. I think it was some crazy shit.
Dog. You know how we do this? Cross country steez.
I've had so many interests in my life. In order to stay interested in skateboarding, I have to go off and do other things at times. If I only did skateboarding the whole time, I think at some point I would have just become bored of it. All aspects of hip-hop culture have been a major influence in my life, and so like within my crew, we were always making beats or DJing or something to that level. But that was when I first was able to, like, from skateboarding, get some of my own equipment and start to produce and make things, which eventually led to, like, a strong obsession of making music.
This beat is hard. I'm feeling it.
Oh, really?
I'm feeling this beat. It's pretty hard.
Nice.
Waiting for Bismarck to come through to the studio. Yo, what we gonna do? We gonna lay the dope trap, that's not whack. It's Muska Beats, kid, you best step the back. I kick a freestyle over this fresh beat. What's up, yo, I'm on those streets, man. Rolling on a skateboard, doing my thing. Stepped up, you get punched with the gold ring.
I make my own music so much that, you know, I really don't listen to too many people's new music that much. I'm just like rocking my own beats, man, just listen to the beats, you know. So I recorded the majority of the Muska Beats album at the Soho Grand in New York City and brought together some insanely influential hip-hop artists that, like, made me who I was at that time, and I couldn't even believe I was working with them and that it actually was happening, you know?
Yeah.
Are we recording?
We are recording this mother.
Class is in session. Believe that.
Yeah. What's the deal? What's the deal?
To me personally, this album would be more about where you're at lyrically to where
I got it right here.
Let's do that.
You're gonna do more than break even. You're gonna have respect.
The world will be like, oh, you're a famous skateboarder, so that's all you're capable of doing. And I would look at it like the opposite way. If somebody could work hard enough to become one thing and were successful at it, then they should be able to apply that energy and work ethic to anything in their life and become whatever it is they want to become. For me, it's always been true expression. It's always been like, oh, I got this idea, I'm just gonna do it. Who cares what anybody thinks? Like, I'm gonna make music because I wanna make music. If the world chooses to accept it or not, that's up to them. But nobody can tell me what to or what not to create or do. I'll never limit myself with anything.
I thought the Muska Beats thing was a little crazy, but the fact that he got legendary rappers from the 90s and all kinds of people to come do music with him, I was like impressed that he did that, you know? It's him though, you know, so like, of course he can do that.
The beat is alright though.
Yeah,
bro. Muska Beats gone wild, part one.
We've been pulling it off just ghetto style, man.
Well, that's what this is hip hop.
Yeah, we
get too fly to stop sounding right.
That's right, Muska Beats, baby. Flavor Flav and the Muska Beats, kid.
A lot of you saw a video of me the other day on TMZ where I came across as a complete drunk idiot, and I can agree I was one.
These are my prized possessions that I keep right here. Had that one for 17 years, that one for 15. You're kind of a new one. You guys are new, so you don't mess up. If I didn't become a skateboarder, I would have tried to do something within fashion or design, but I feel like if I didn't do it through skateboarding, the world would have never given me that opportunity. It's my closet. They're kind of messy. Certain ones I kind of saved that were special to me that I liked. The first time I had the ability to have anything like associated with my name, I wanted it to represent me in a true way that I felt was me.
He had a weed stash pocket in the tongue. No one had done that, and that was Muska.
Kids come up to me over the years, and they're like, your stash pocket saved my ass. I knew kids, they said they got arrested with weed in their shoe, taken into jail, and let back out with the weed still in. And got away with it. I've had a pretty good run with most of the shoes that I've designed. Have done fairly well over the years. Oh yeah. What up, baby?
When you look at what Muska does, he's very successful at everything he touches. He got on Supra, and then he made the Skytop.
The first impression of the Skytop was like, what the f***? I didn't think it would have the success it did.
It just went
crazy.
Jay-Z wore it and Kanye. It was amazing because it was Muska again.
Oh, we made these ones for Slash.
Those were for Slash.
Yeah, Anaconda.
So at one point he was making a lot. He lived in the Chateau Marmont for like months at a time. It's like 500 a night. I still don't understand how. It said in an interview like you put on some weight, and he's like, yeah, money makes you fat. I was like, wow, this guy is the best. Like that type of shit, like that is the best.
From being a kid that never had any money, like nothing, just having that money was like so insane to me. In the real world's terms, I've never been really rich. Like there's rich and then there's like hood rich. I made it hood rich maybe a little bit. But people in skateboarding don't educate you on money and how it works. I was making a lot of money, but I was spending it just as fast. You know, yeah, I wanted to go get a nice car. I wanted to flaunt these things at that time, and it was kind of part of a bit public persona and a bit of my own fulfillment. I guess I was chasing that materialism fulfillment at that time, and that was just the start of it.
So no Muscalade?
The Prius. Budget cuts.
Where's the Muscalade?
Prius life, baby. It's a smart choice, man. Let me tell you, kids. Young skaters, don't spend your money on Escalades. Get a Prius. You'll thank me in the long run.
Priuses are nice. Is this where celebrities live?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some around here. Like, Moby used to live right there, but he sold the house. I don't really pay attention too much to that kind of stuff nowadays. I came to LA not knowing anybody, not having anything really, you know, and just started building from the ground up. It was like a whole new world that like I'd never imagined would accept me as a skateboarder.
Muska was literally the one dude who went totally Hollywood when he got here. Chad was with the celebrities. Chad was with Paris Hilton and stuff like that. That was his scene.
I would go to nightclubs where like all these famous people were at, and they were like, come on in, Chad, you know? I'm like, whoa, like, you know, I was living a dream.
I don't think he had an agenda. I think he was just doing exactly what the he wanted to do, which was the Muska.
Everyone's like, yeah, Muska's like with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie and like, you know, girls like that. And we were like, what?
Being a skater from living in a trailer park to like next thing you know you're like in LA and all of a sudden you're up in the club with like Puff Daddy and the Olsen twins and like Mick Jagger, and I mean I got to party with all these like crazy people. I couldn't even believe what was happening. But I was partying a little too hard at that time period. I'm either a party animal or I'm completely sober. I'm either like the gnarliest skate rat or I don't touch my board at all. Like I'm so extreme with my actions.
That Hollywood sort of superstar Muska era, it was funny, but it worried me, for sure. You don't want to see somebody get just chewed up and spit out.
which can easily happen.
Everything is kind of like a drug in life, you know? Fame, girls, alcohol, experience. I'm very aware of when I'm being self-destructive, and there was a lot of financial things happening in my life. My father passed away right at that same time, and to some extent I was like, I'm gonna do myself in, I guess. Maybe not like take a gun and shoot myself in the head or slit my wrists, but I was gonna ride it till the wheels fell off, and the wheels almost fell off.
Help! This motherfucker pushing me! Yo! Help! Help! Hey! Hey!
If you've ever partied hard and like woke up the next day with your group of friends and been like, oh man, like you really messed up last night, that was pretty embarrassing. So imagine doing that in front of the whole world, you know? Like, I've done that and I've embarrassed myself completely in the public eye.
These haters, these motherfuckers right here with their little white uniform, gold badge, black uniform, gold badge, all that bullshit. Take me to jail right now, see what it does to me. Nothing, ever.
Something really clicked in my head that, God forbid I died or something happened, would the world remember me as that?
A lot of you saw a video of me the other day on TMZ where I came across as a complete drunk idiot, and I can agree I was one. I am not making any excuses for it, and I'm completely sorry, and I hope that society understands me and forgives me, because I got nothing but love for you.
There you go. Green juice. We're talking about trying to get my healthier lifestyle. Healthy, unhealthy. Healthy, unhealthy.
That's not as bad as 40 of
Yeah, coffee. Coffee's a little bit better than a 40 of Old English. Or St. Ides, I guess, actually was the drink at one time. Coffee. Who'd have thought? At the end of my sort of club craze, you know, like I was partying a lot and I decided I want to go back and skate more and get more into skateboarding. During that time period, I started to film and put some stuff out there. You can skateboard for as long as your body can allow you to skateboard. I've always found ways to heal my body through all these years.
Oh my God! What the f?
I'm so like convinced I can do everything myself, but sometimes I have to realize I can't.
As we get older, our bodies take its toll, man. And I think that's the one thing that's been hard for me, is just to see my friends get older and not be able to skate like they used to be able to skate.
Still there and was still applying to the artwork. So quickly I realized that skateboarding is a part of me no matter what I do and will have an influence on everything I do in life. I just know that like mentally and physically, beyond this one thing, I still could go break it off. I know I can. Like,
He still is really motivated, and he knows that people want to see it again. So he knows that he could have fun and just enjoy skating around or cruising or, doing whatever it is that he wants to do.
We're all just trying Muska flips off of the old school kickers. With Muska, hype it up!
I mean, I thought about this kind of idea of a process. Can I do this? Like, here we go. Like, here's the ride. The end is either going to be a banging ass video part, or the end is going to be me depressed with a up back surgery. Ain't no one of those in a hot minute, son.